everyone, it's me, Cici, and welcome back to the Loose Ends Podcast, the show where we weave in the ends in our work and in our lives. Today's theme is Winner Takes All. Or do they? The timer starts now. So the project that I'm working on today is actually this blanket, and you've probably seen it before if you are familiar with any of the content on my channel, because it has come up in a lot of my New Year's recaps, because I've been working on it for a very long time. But first, let's start with the all-or-nothing mindset. Now, the all-or-nothing mindset is also called black and white thinking. And black and white thinking is a thought pattern that makes people think in absolutes. So either I am a good person or a bad person. Either my cooking is good or my cooking is bad. If something is not hot, it is cold. Things like that. I first heard this come up when I was working with my therapist. On one of our first sessions, the things that she wanted us to do was figure out what negative thought patterns I was working with. So we took a quiz. She asked me a bunch of questions, and I would say how much I agreed or disagreed with those statements. And one of the thought patterns that came up was all-or-nothing thinking. My therapist then continued to tell me that I am a perfectionist. Now, upon hearing this, I thought that there was absolutely no way that I was a perfectionist. I was so lazy with my work. Like, if I was sitting at work, I would just sit there and zone out into space sometimes. Like, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I am very much at the bare minimum. However, perfectionism comes in lots of different shapes and sizes, and not everyone is perfectionists about everything all of the time. For example, someone might have an incredible work ethic, but be more forgiving when they are talking with people. Or for example, someone with social anxiety might not care too much about keeping the house clean unless guests are coming over. So over the years, we have been deconstructing what exactly my perfectionism looks like. It's a lot to do with people. In fact, I would say it is mostly to do with people. Even after all of this work, I still didn't quite understand what perfectionism actually meant. I still thought that I was very much able to see in black and whites, until my therapist told me a story. A story about a woman who was just having dinner. So this woman wanted one specific dish for dinner. Let's say she wanted a really healthy dish. Maybe she wanted salmon over a bed of sautéed spinach with garlic, and it was something that would take a few hours to make. She got home late to work one day, she didn't have the ingredients that she needed, and became very frustrated because she was not able to make her salmon with sautéed spinach. And one day she was talking to her therapist about this, and her therapist asked her, "What did you have for dinner instead of the salmon?" And the lady paused. "What do you mean, what did I have for dinner instead of the salmon?" The therapist said, "Well, what did you have for dinner? Like, you had to have something instead of the salmon." And the lady thought for a second. She tried to remember before saying, "Nothing. I didn't have anything for dinner." And that was when I understood all or nothing thinking. If I can't have the salmon for dinner, then what's the point? When in reality, having anything for dinner is far better than just having nothing. This is the Fed is best mindset that is very useful for people who struggle with executive function and have trouble making dinners that take several hours. Now, after this, I saw it coming up everywhere in my life. One afternoon after work, I was talking to one of my coworkers who lamented that they wanted to spend the evening doing laundry, packing for their trip, and making 2 or 3 skirts for the trip. Yes, making 2 or 3 skirts. Now that's an awful lot to do in one evening. So I realized they could only make 1 skirt instead of having to make every single one of those skirts instead of saying, what's the point of making any skirts at all, you could just make one. Pick one that is your favorite and save your energy for packing. And when I was doing the laundry the other day, I had a couple of my roommates' laundry to do as well. That's just our distribution of chores. It's nothing unusual. But the laundry was already full, and I still had laundry to do. And I really needed some clean clothes. So instead of getting frustrated and waiting to put my clothes in until the next load, I took a few things that I knew I would need for the next day, put them in the load, and I was set until I had time to do a proper load of laundry again. These little examples of the all or nothing mindset can be applied everywhere throughout life. Don't have time for doing all of the tasks on your to-do list? Just do one. Don't have time for a gourmet meal? You don't have to. Do whatever you can to keep yourself going. And we still have a few more minutes left on my timer. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what this project actually is. This project is a blanket that I have been working on for several years, as I said, and it was actually one of the first crochet projects that I actually did. I started it in my senior year of college, and it has been around about 3 years since then, and I am still not done with it. It is made with acrylic yarn, and my goodness, the hook that I used was far too small for the yarn gauge that I was using, so it took me like months to finish it, and it's still not incredibly large. I would say that it is maybe Afghan sized, or maybe even like a baby blanket. I added this trim to try and extend it a little bit more, and even after I'm done weaving in the loose ends of this, I might add some more. But who knows? We will see. We will see. All right. And we still have 2.5 minutes left on our timer, but I am going to pause after I am done weaving in this specific end. It got caught a little bit on one of the yarn things, like the knots that I was pulling through. Oh, I was doing so well up until this point. Gonna thread it through. And that's it. Cut off the end. Now, weaving in loose ends is something that takes a very long time for me. That is why I set aside a whole entire podcast for it. For example, in the time that it took me to tell all of those stories, which was approximately 8 minutes, I did 4 squares. Actually, now that I'm doing the math, that is not terrible. That is around about 2 minutes per square. Huh. Interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna do one more blue square because I've got like 1.5 minutes left on this timer. I think I can do it. And I really love weaving in the loose ends on the granny square, because the way that I do it is that I make a magic circle that you can tighten actually with this loose end, so I make it nice and tight. And then I start weaving in the ends, and I just weave it underneath all of the first posts in the magic circle, and it looks so good and so neat, and it looks like a little flower, and I really like it. All right, 45 seconds. I can get this done. I can totally get this done. I got time. I got so much time. It's like that scene in The Blind Side where the football player has a guest coming over in 15 minutes. And for those of you who know American football, 1 quarter is 15 minutes, but there are a lot of stops and starts. So the football player is like, oh, I have time. I have so much time, because he's used to 15 minutes lasting like at least 20 or 25 minutes in football, so that's the joke. And pull it through, trim it off, and time! Nice! Alright. Yes. Alright. Hello, dismiss? There we go. All right, so I've got 4 little ends here and one that just stayed in the square. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which isn't actually too bad. I feel good about this. And it also just like feels more stable too and just like looks cleaner when it's done. American football. We have a couple of members of chat right now asking about American football, like the band. I did not know that there was a band called American Football. That comment comes from Melonstorm. Thank you so much. If you want to see these live, you can check me out on Twitch TV. But in the meantime, thank you to everyone in chat right now, and thank you to you for watching this video. If you like this content so far, go ahead and give it a like down below, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet. You still got time to judge me if you're still hung up. We've got another 10 minutes of end weaving in. And if I run out of stuff to talk about, I will look up the band, American Football. So, what does the all or nothing mindset have to do with this blanket? Well, since I've been working on it for several years, it has been incomplete for several years. And that, I think, is really an example of picking your battles. Conserving your energy for things that you actually care about. And that is the crux of the all or nothing mindset. Figuring out where it's okay to compromise, where your values are, and what's most important to you. And if something isn't working, it's okay to scrap it or put it on the back burner until you figure out what to do with it. I wrote in my notes, don't get trapped in loss aversion, which some of you might not know what loss aversion is as well. So for those of you who don't know, I feel like I use that term a lot and nobody ever knows what it is. But it is a cognitive bias where the pain we experience from losing far outweighs the perceived benefits of acquiring the same amount. So basically the idea of continuing something, even if it's not quite working for you, just because you fear the pain of losing it or losing out on something. Like a bottle of shampoo that isn't working for your hair type, but you already spent the $10 on it, so you don't want to throw it away, you want to use it. That is a perfect example of loss aversion, and one that my girlfriend just did the other day, and I am currently in the process of doing right now. But there are a few examples where holding on to something might actually be more detrimental than actually getting rid of it. For example, if you have something from your grandma that you've had in your family for years, but it's taking up a lot of space in your household and you don't really use it, and there's someone else that might like it better, it would hurt a lot to get rid of that thing. But you could also use that space for something else, and somebody else, like one of your other family members, might be happier with it. In that case, that is where loss aversion can hurt. So it is okay to set something on the back burner. And you don't have to completely toss it either. And that's going back to the all or nothing mindset. There we go, I'm catching myself in the act. You don't have to completely scrap a project. You can just put it on the back burner for a little while until something else comes up, or try and transition it into something new. Oh, this one is really loose. Interesting. Now, obviously, in my own world, I very much prioritize making sure that gifts for others are skillfully made, which is, I suppose, not great for my interpersonal perfectionism, but that's a story for another day. My point here is that I value making sure that when I make gifts for others, they are exquisitely done and that they enjoy them. And that they are also done in a timely manner, because I do have a lot of trouble with that. I'm gonna be real with you guys. So I try to do it as quickly as possible, put all of my focus into it, and don't be afraid to pull it apart and put it back together in the name of making it a quality piece. However, when it comes to pieces of my own, like this blanket here, I'm okay with having a couple of loose ends. Roll credits. I'm okay with having a couple of loose ends hanging out for a little while. Maybe not for forever, but just for a bit. Because I can always come back to it. And I can always keep working on it. Like right now. And sometimes it's fun to come back to old projects just to see how far I've come and what different techniques I know how to use now. 07 got class. Alright, Melon, thank you very much. However, as promised, Melon, I am going to be looking up American Football, the band, now that I've run out of things to talk about. As soon as I finish up this one little end here. Just a little more weaving in to do. I don't know how much YouTube or Twitch will like me playing a section of American Football. However, we're gonna try it anyway. Because what monetization money are they gonna take from me? I ain't got any monetization money. Alright. American Football Band. And I'm going to move you guys over super quickly to... Hang on, where are you? Main camera, good night. No. Gaming. Yes. American Football Band. Oh my gosh, and you guys can see the little timer right here. I didn't realize. That's so cool. Okay. Let's watch just one of their videos. Or perhaps maybe a couple of sections of some videos. Maybe just the top 3. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was interesting. It looks like Never Meant is like one of their big songs. Never Meant. Fade Into You, sure, and one more music video. The Making of American Football. And maybe let's watch this one cover. Just for a few seconds. Alright. First video. Of the vocals. I feel like they're a little quiet in the mix though, in my opinion. Alright, what about this guy? This is a very long intro, very cinematic. It's cinematic! My girlfriend is gonna hate me saying that. She's a film major. Oh, this is a very slow fade. Oh, that's inappropriate. I don't know where the song actually starts. I mean, I like the music video so far. I think that the concept is very interesting, just from the little bit that I've skimmed a bit. That's cute. I wonder if the song is actually 7 minutes long. I feel like the vibes are a lot more chill than I expected. Oh wait, no! We only have 20 more seconds left! I got distracted! Ah! Nice. Such vibes. Okay, I approve of American football. I'm very much approve of that. Alrighty, let's get me back to my regular camera and actually see what the heck we've done, because I did get very distracted there at the end, but I think that it was 100% worth it. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares and a couple of like the little joining pieces in between. And this is the problem with the Loose Ends podcast. I'm slowly starting to realize 20 minutes is so not enough time. Like, I will sit in bed and work for 2 or 3 hours and just get completely sucked into a project. But as we have learned today, even if we can only do something for 20 minutes, that is more worth doing than nothing at all. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like it down below. Comment to tell me your opinions on the all or nothing mindset, or what I should do next time, and subscribe to see more of my lovely face. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone!